And welcome back to VCT Game Changers, where OWA OWA one map up after a dominant performance against CLG Red. I am your host, Yingsu, and I'm joined by Vasily and Jess. And honestly, Vasily, I could listen to you try and navigate through how to pronounce OWA OWA all day. Honestly, all day.
I just realized I didn't have a chance to look at the video while we were on break, but I did download Duolingo, so we're going to have to learn it for the next map here.
Do you think OWA OWA is on Duolingo? Because out of all the phrases, I think that's on Duolingo.
Wow. It's the thought that counts. It's
exactly.
Trying,
I'm trying, chat.
Effort.
I'm trying.
And speaking of trying, you know, we had two teams that battled it out again, and all three of us were wrong when it came to the result. I certainly didn't expect that kind of dominance when it came to performance. And Jess, you know, my main concerns here were the retakes, of course, from CLG. It just felt like they didn't understand how to sort of navigate around OWA OWA here.
I said it to Vans pretty much halfway through the matchup, or rather this map in particular. I said, I'm not confident that CLG understands how to respond. They either need to respond really early, push the attackers back, stall them out so they can work out what they need to do, or they need to navigate their retakes a lot better. It didn't get much better as the rounds went on. I think the only time I really saw a little bit of a confident burst was maybe Naomi back site and really gave a bit of an opportunity here and there to make things happen. Other than that, I mean, you're relying on big gunners to make big plays, and as that so turns out, you can't rely on people to just hit heads. I mean, you've got to be able to work as a team here, and that's where the retakes fail.
I want to add on to that though. That's where I think the team play for OWA OWA was actually perfect, because I feel that CLG Red, they have tried different things on the defender side where, hey, turtling up doesn't work out, putting Killjoy from A to B, it's not working out, let's try to push B main, got a couple of kills, still lost the retake. Trying to take mid control, it's not working out. Why? Because Madison, Hannah, and company here of the attacker side were just doing very well to win those individual fights too, right? You could be as prepared as you want, but you also have to be ready for those duels and to try to win those duels. And you saw during the replay, one of the times that they actually made it into the site for CLG Red, you did see how Stephanie played that breach. A flash blinds three players peeking out here for OWA OWA. They get kills. She's able to survive as long as she can and does her job as the anchor player. I think just right now, looking at head-to-head, it's not really about who's more prepared or whatnot, because they do look prepared from both sides, but it's just OWA OWA is on a different level in terms of mechanical skills in this matchup so far.
What about the post-plant situations then, Jess, on the other side of this? Because I do feel like OWA OWA played that very, very well, but they weren't challenged enough, in my opinion, to sort of really prove that they had everything locked down.
You know, this is an interesting point that not just in this particular tournament, but beyond and in other tactical FPS games, that people don't like to approach this subject. And I hate that they don't, because we need to, you know, hit the nail on the head here. Let's be honest. There are teams, OWA OWA showed a great showing today. Do I think they were tested? Do I think they were stress tested enough to show where the cracks are in their strategies? Absolutely not. Do I think coming into Icebox, they may be? Absolutely, because we would think that that's going to be a map that would hopefully bring out a little bit more eclectic kind of plays. That's what I'm looking for. But do I think they were stress tested? Absolutely not. If you look at OWA OWA's scoreline and go, oh my god, they're going to be in the finals against, you know, C9 or Dignitas or whatever, based off that one map when they weren't even stress tested, no. Did they do well? Yes.
This is where it's definitely going to be interesting here for CLG Red, because again, Icebox is a map that they've chosen, and the composition that they have to again have a Silva in this lineup shows that they could play a lot of retakes towards the A site. For me, Icebox is still in a weird spot where the A site is very hard to defend, so you have to give that up a lot, so that you have to play the retake place and scenarios. And if it hasn't been working out here for CLG Red on the defender side of Ascent, we're hoping that it's going to be night and day in terms of the retake performances on the A site of Icebox.
Well, we know how Vasily feels about Icebox. You're a big fan, I'm guessing.
I hate
Jess,
Icebox.
What about you? Oh, wait, what? You actually hate Icebox?
My favorite map is actually, funny enough, Split. I go Split, Bind, and then Icebox is fortunately at the bottom for me.
I'm a fan of Split as well. I can get behind that. But Jess, you know, coming into this Icebox map, do we have maybe a slightly more even playing field after what happened on Ascent?
You would hope, especially when it's someone's map pick, you would hope they've got something to go off of. You don't want to go in there and go, they're going to get smashed on their map pick. to begin with before you even get into round 1, 2, or 3, or even the first full buy round, and you go, oh, these are not looking great for the team. So I do have confidence that they are going into this with a little bit more confidence. The mentality might be a bit shaky. That doesn't matter. Reset. This is a map you've clearly picked out on purpose. Jump into it, and things might look a little bit more pristine. They just need to, I guess, sound the corners out a bit more because they're not looking good for the retakes on a map that, let's be honest, I watched a lot of Korean games recently, and there was a lot of retakes on Icebox. There was a lot of opportunities where people did get in onto the site. It forced players to have to, shift all the way across the map for big rotates and retakes. If CLG is struggling, that's not good.
Well, speaking of Icebox, we are going to jump into this map now for Agent Select. Of course, CLG Red must win this if they want to progress through the upper bracket. Over to you, Jess and Vansili.
Thank you so much, Ginsu. Now down to Icebox. We're looking at the composition. We've mentioned it in the pregame that this is going to be a map where Benita is going to be playing that Reyna, where Chobo is switching out to that Silva, where Benita has a 20% entry percentage. Hopefully that's going to pay off for their side this time here, Jess.
If you want a map where I feel possibly, and this might be a little bit of a controversial opinion, I don't think it's that controversial, but some higher tier players might look at this and go, well, yeah, maybe at higher tiers that this might not be a problem. You look over towards Maddie, you look over towards a couple of the other gunners on the side of OWA OWA,
yeah.
And if they've been popping off and getting that scoreboard high, and me saying that kills don't really matter, it's about the team synergy and the enablers and etc. On Icebox, once you have that full buy and you've got those long range weapons, that is more terrifying. You're on a map that it enables longer range engagements, and for mechanically skilled players like Maddie, that is a dream. That's a playground. You walk all over players who can't hit their shots at long range. That's what I'm worried about on a mechanical level.
Yeah, and now looking back on the other end for OWA OWA, I have criticized the lineup, seeing that if they had a breach in there, that was a little bit questionable as to would that be the winning solution right now versus a team like CLG Red. And you see that there is a slight change. Stephanie is going with a Killjoy instead, where you might leverage this lockdown for the retakes or even for the takes.
Why not? I mean, we've seen it work on multiple maps. I actually really enjoy Killjoy as an operator, rather an agent as a whole. You can see me coming from another game just through my vocabulary there, ladies and gentlemen. But nevertheless, I'm enjoying the fact that we've got a Reyna on the board, because when I see it, I feel aggression, I feel hype, and I feel nasty plays. And that's going to be the first pick of the day from the Reyna.
Exactly. Even a first blood there. One watching that flank on a rotation. That's Stephanie for one, but they are set up for a trade here for CLG. So a perfect 4-on-3 to start things off on a defense, keeping OWA OWA guessing so far. They had to fall back towards this mid side, but they still have an Astra and a Jet to help things out towards the A side rotation. But they get spotted again and reset again. I like this so far from the attackers.
Oh no, they're just trawling through the map right now, trying to find an entry point. It does look like the B side of the map is a preference. I will say overall, and you let me know what you think about this, Vansili, I do think B is a preference for a lot of teams. I don't know what it is about B side.
Yeah, it depends as well on the comfort of the lineups and the comfort that you have as a team, but definitely like B would be one of those sites where it's easier to explode on an open side when you want to go for those long-range battles, or when you have a perfect smoke towards that snowman side to block the rotation. It's easier to cover it up here towards a plant on the A side. The thing that's tough right now is that they didn't have a Sage, so it was going to be harder for them to go for a plant. And speaking about Sages, there's going to be that plant for the retake, but we have one satchel charging in the air, and both of them to fall. Only one left. It's going to be Tyree. She's trying to push forward. She misses out on her shots, and unfortunately the defuse will come out, and also the kill from Rise onto Tyree, and it's going to be CLG Red that takes the pistol round.
What a beautiful wall. That wall springing up, you did say it was a shame that the Sage wasn't there. I actually think the late introduction of the Sage and then the wall there actually forced the attackers to be drawn out way earlier than they wanted to with that spike down. And that's the beauty of Sage, isn't it? You could just really slow orb out, maybe you want to barrier out, didn't matter what you did. It's so powerful in those retake situations, and it's why I love watching Sage as an agent.
Yeah, when Sage first came out on the defender side on this map here for Icebox, the meta was to try to put literally where Animal is looking, a Sage wall right in the middle middle so that you deny mid control, at least on the high grounds, and you could stack up towards the site. But a lot of the players right now with the evolution of Sage on defense, you keep your walls for the retakes, for the exact moment, especially on pistols, where the guns are weaker to break down that wall, it allows you to get that defuse out. But now...
Well, that preference towards A is now going to show, because it was B before, fans, but now it's A, and they're just going through the alphabet at this point. And guess what? Benita's going through headshots. Not a single miss until Rise comes in with the body shot with the classic. I am choking on my words, because that is a very swift round there from CLG Red. You know what, Yinsu, if you're out there and you're listening to us, you said, is this the map they're going to be confident on? Are they going to show something? I said, yeah, it's their map pick. I'm hoping for something. Oh, we got a bit more than we bargained for here, Vance.
We definitely saw it. It was a beautiful paranoia to allow for Benita, to peek out towards 410 and get those 2 kills. On top of that, and that's another first blood coming in favor of Benita. That's 2 rounds in a row into this map. So you're starting to see the level of comfort that you have for CLG on this very map. Looking very good on the defense too so far, and we're going to have to see if this continues on for the rest of the half and moving on to the attacker side. But OWA OWA at this point, they finally have the weapons in their hands, as CLG Red is going to be on a bonus into this round. And it seemed to be focusing again towards this B side. So we're going back and forth here, Jess, for the sites.
And why not? Try and keep it unpredictable. I mean, as unpredictable as you can be on a 2-site map like this, you know, you can really only 50-50 at half the time. They will give away a bit of a position, and this should read a bit of an opportunity now for the defenders to flank. We haven't seen a lot of good flanks. I'd like to see it. And even better, we got Benita on the off going, yeah, good night, Maddie. I know you like to rock it as well, but you're not as good as me.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a Reyna operator this time, and it's paying off here for CLG Red too. We have yet to have made into the site to try to get a plant. You saw that wall that come up, an attempt for a plant, and they had to fall back from that one too. So the spike now in the hands of their Rays, as it's going to be Carly just holding back with her teammates. They're just going to hold back towards yellow, try to kill noise, try to not show themselves as of yet, trying to creep up with this Nebula to try to get a plant.
30 seconds left as well, so you can hear the announcer in the background letting us know it's almost like a pressure point here for the attackers. Please make your way in. Default spot, spray on through Chobo. You're going to get a hit if you point it right. Lash she does. She'll take down Carly. Hey, that's a beautiful shot over towards that spike as well. And Benita, she comes out as if she's been called out in a class row, and she's going to win that one for her team. And I tell you what, that all came down to the fact that you could smoke off an area, and I feel like C9 White did this really well. You could smoke off an area, but if you're planting default, I could wallbang you from wherever I damn want. I know where that default spot is. It doesn't take much skill as a competitive player to understand that.
Exactly.
So that's why Chobo was really reigning supreme in that particular spot over towards Snowman.
And that's also why I believe that if you want to try to favor towards this B side much more here on the attacker side, no matter what team that you are, having a Sage is going to help so much more, because that Sage wall, to be able to put it across towards the double stack and also towards the site, allows for you to plant safely behind a wall and also not get wall banged from, for example, Orange or even the back of the site. So if they still want to try to work this side, try to keep your Sage alive.
Speaking of being alive, first one to peak goes down. It's Tyray, and that'll lose out to Naomi, who had a pretty damn good showing on a couple of those retake or site holds earlier on in the previous map. Unfortunately, now she's going to have to take a bit of a backseat here as her teammates attempt to wrap around and find out the intel if they can. And now they are going to work out exactly where they're pushing on through mid. I think given they were doing an A-B sort of switch here, Vans, my problem is now they're just trying to hit mid as if it's going to change up some unpredictability.
So far it's working. They've made it under pipe. They're moving out towards the back of Orange. Madison's outside to clear out Kitchen at the same time. So they have taken the B side control and also in a position where they can plant a little bit more safely. But it seems as though it's once again going to try to go back towards that default spot, as Carly is still going to manage to take down Naomi. So with such a broken buy that they have so far for the attackers, it's still paying it out in dividends, but the trades come out finally. It's a 2 versus 1. Spike has been dropped. Chobo making it a 1 versus 1 somehow. It falls back in the hands of CLG Red. And we're going to keep them guessing. Carly with the fake plant, and it's going to be Chobo coming out from the other side. And she's going to be able to clutch it to make it 4-0, but it was definitely a close call there for CLG Red.
In that scenario there, Vans, you're obviously a lot more aligned with the meta currently in Valorant. I want to ask you, should she have pushed or should she have baited? Because when you're in such an open position like that, I know it's default player spot and it's default for a reason, but when you're in an open position like that, should you have gone for kill in the last 5 seconds rather than trying to bait out the plan? What's the play there?
Yeah, I think, again, I didn't really know how much time there was really left going into there, maybe like 20 seconds or so, right? I think going forward like that and going for the fake plant and then looking out was the right call. You're trying to bait it out. You're trying to say, hey, am I going to play into my opponent's mind to say I'm going to go for a full plant, not knowing where my opponent would be, and then try to swing back? I think that was the correct play looking at that 1v1.
There you go. Well, unfortunately for OWA OWA right now, a dominant first map win. We have to absolutely capitalize on that and say that they had a very dominant first map win. Go back and watch it, because what you're seeing right now is probably not very indicative of the OWA OWA we were screaming for in map 1. The pack has unfortunately lost its gusto, and now they're going to have to bring it back as they attempt to rain onto A.
You see a recon dart already coming out to try to get that information, though, for CLG Red. So that means that if they want to give up the site as they are right now, they might have to wait a little bit longer. But maybe not. You still have Benita alive in the back of the site. That's an opt down to take the kills, taking a second one down. And that is it. You can't even walk into the site for OWA OWA. And that's another flawless here for CLG Red. I think this is like the second at least so far. So the economy is going to continue to look very good here for the defender side.
Look over towards Benita right now. And we do expect this for players who play an agent like Reyna. You do expect them to reign supreme, pun intended, right? You expect them to hit the top of the leaderboard pretty consistently. Now with the operator in hand, which, sometimes you'll see Maddie on the Jet, or you see other agents rocking the operator. Generally, I like to watch the Jet operator players the most.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that Benita's rocking the Reyna operator. I don't know how frequent that is for that particular sort of combination or composition to happen, but it's nice because she can rock it well and she uses her abilities well.
And I don't see that a lot, so it's quite surprising for sure, and I like that it's working out for CLG Red. And this is a perfect counter to how you also want to try to stop Madison on this long distance, so what she could do with her dashes. And speaking about her, she was trying to look out towards this yellow, and she gets dropped by Naomi, who's anchoring the site on her own so far. Benita's already rotated out in the back of the kitchen, so she's looking out to see and spots a few towards that kitchen side as she knows this push is coming now towards this B side. So the rest of the rotation is also coming out for CLG Red. The attempt of a wall to come up gets immediately broken down. It's going to be hard for them to try to get the plant, but at least they get it. It is going to be a low buy. It is going to be also a big flank here from Chobo for a triple, and that's it. I mean, mission successful at least. OWA OWA got that plant down.
Well, Hannah can try and grab a couple of picks here. They would be a little bit important for the fact that maybe she could do some damage, but I mean, you're looking at the pockets of a lot of these players. Go have a look at their bank accounts. They look like my mother's phone number at the moment, okay? They've got enough money to go all the way around and then back again. They're going to Disney World and back, ladies and gentlemen. So even if you do take a couple of them out, I don't think it really is a big hit to the side of CLG, especially when you've got 6 rounds up against your opponents and they've got not a single round after absolutely obliterating you on map 1. I'm feeling now that the shift of going into a map pick that you're comfortable with, being able to reset mentally, Vans, and come into this and show that you are a confident and capable team and you deserve to be in playoffs. This is the story we wanted.
Exactly. Like you said, it's going to have to be, we're going to play our own game on a map that we're comfortable. You can try to study us as much as you want, but we'll still come out swinging. We'll still come out strong. And we're still going to come out aggressive. I mean, you talked about the confidence before, Jess. We see the confidence oozing out here in the second map here for CLG Red. It seems as though they were never shook from that first map, but they're trying to counter things back here for OWA OWA. It's going to be a lockdown towards the front of the A site.
This is what we criticized CLG for not doing, and now OWA OWA is actually doing it. Slow them down, force them to have to think about what they're doing, stall tactics as best as you can, and it actually hasn't really worked. Look at that, though, with the 2 players detained. Imagine being able to sneak out. Oh, no, next to screen, and you don't manage to get fallen from all of that lockdown. What a shame.
Wow.
But Naomi, wow, that was brilliant headshots.
And she's continuing to drive by with that Vandal, only leaving Carly in the back of the site. She's only going to take one down until she gets traded out by Animal right after. And the reason why I'm saying wow at that point then, Jess, it seems as though with this scoreline, we're a little bit shook right now for OWA OWA on that post plant, because you had perfect position for the defenders, or should I say for the attackers on a post plant, but they just didn't connect when they spotted their opponent first.
There was so many questions I had in that particular round as well, because I thought to myself, oh, this is it. Plant's going down, get your post-player positions, everything's looking solid, and then you're telling me you're getting flanked? You're telling me you're getting double flanked, mind you, and you can't deal with that? That's a problem. That is a big problem, and something that OWA OWA clearly did in the first map, and now for whatever reason can't counter it. That's a strange sort of outcome for me. To go from one map where you're doing it well, and then you don't understand how to do it on the next, doesn't make any sense.
And it seems though at this point they're doing the same thing CLG Red as what OWA OWA is currently doing. They keep him guessing. Pushing on different angles. Benita's now opting towards the B main. She gets a first pick. Yes, it's a 4 versus 4, but there you go. She connects onto a second one, and things are looking easier and easier for CLG Red. So she's not giving them any room to breathe, nor is CLG Red overall. But that's now to a 4-on-1. Benita looking for this ace, as we do have that Astra. Tyre sitting close to the orb, looking left and right, and Benita, she just wants to hunt down for the ace. She gets it denied, but here comes the push. She gets a double kill. You might not want to be too antsy here. Catches him on a reload, but she still goes for the triple kill. So you're chasing him on a 1-on-1-on-1, and it makes it a 1 versus 1 in the end, no matter what.
That was way too much ego flying at my screen right there, Vans. I'm telling you what, when you have a huge numbers advantage like that and you throw it in the bin,
30 seconds.
That screams that you are way more confident than you damn need to be in that round. Ooh, you're lucky that Omen has full HP here, but going up against Tyre here, that's going to be the one saving grace, because Tyre hasn't missed in the past couple of kills. So you don't want to risk it.
And she heard a couple of footsteps too. And Rise is still going around the corner. I mean, this is nothing but timing on both ends. And Tyre, though, does have the advantage because the spike is down. Now that they spot each other, the big paranoia and the smoke, and we're going for the full defuse. No, it's going to be a tap. Now we do have the gravity well being pulled out, but it's still going to be Rise that comes out on top. So she saves it for CLG Red. And you know what? At the end of the day, Jess, I feel that it's still okay despite those mistakes, because look at that. You have 5 ultimates moving into the next round, and also because you won 8-0, you're still looking good for the money.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the pockets are still heavy.
Yep.
So I can't criticize them for that. But what I can say is that Rise is probably sitting there in between both of these rounds going, girls, what was that? You put me in a clutch situation after that kind of player advantage? You're kidding me. We had everything to go for here, and you decided to take multiple 1v1s. Enough time for her to reload after the second kill as well. So that's something that fundamentally shouldn't happen, of course, but does it damage them? Nah. And Rise, catches it up in the end anyway.
And that's where you have a slight change in the strategy once again. CLG Red immediately putting the wall up towards a tube. So now you could focus towards the bottom and also towards that top, where you see that battle coming out as Madison is on the top there trying to go for a fight. Carly, meanwhile, does get pinged, and here's a Hunter's Fury coming out from Chobo. She does go for this first pulse, and the second one finally connects. So that's already a duelist down, and also the round making it more difficult for OWA OWA.
So much accuracy from Chobo on this particular map. So many headshots, so accurate with the Hunter's Fury as well. That's something I really like, that they're comboing a lot of their utility and abilities to make the maximum usage that they can and get the maximum out of it. I say that. Maddie had a great first map, can't capitalize on the second. All of a sudden, it's a back and forth. Benita, speaking about accuracy, Vans, talk me through Benita. She's not missing on this map.
That's just position and perfect double collateral going there to get that double kill, for the collateral. And that's just, she could just focus down towards that orange side because the rest of her teammates are just locking it down up towards that kitchen and also towards B main. There was nowhere else that she needed to focus because she could trust in her teammates. Look at her right now. She's at 15, 4, and 0. So she has 0 assists, just connecting every single one of the op shots that she's pulling out. And that has really been the thorn in the side of OWA OWA. We got to find a different answer right now.
We do. There's got to be something else that can be brought up here, because for OWA OWA, they looked like a very solid team. I want to say that they are. I'm talking about accuracy with Chobo yet again, puts it on the screen for everyone to display just exactly how accurate she has been. Tyro will finally take her out though, and this is the aggression I wanted to see from CLG last map. They're bringing it into Icebox now, Van Silly, but hey, guess what? Rise has something to say about it, and it's not enough ammunition.
I mean, it's Nano Swarms. The utility is just looking perfect right now for CLG to set things up towards that site, and even then, you're seeing how aggressive they are every time they're pushing out towards the beginning of the rounds. If it's not going to be Bonita towards that B side, you saw Naomi. She's basically out in the open, an open target, saying, come at me from all pipes, tubes, wherever, and she still connects for the kill. So that I'm looking forward for this third map. I think it's safe to say so far that looking at a 10-0 scoreline, but just how good things have been looking for CLG Red, it seems as though that they found their form, and we will see this third map.
This probably goes to an even deeper discussion, a micro-analysis here of a couple of these teams is saying that if you don't have a very wide map pool, you're not going to do well, especially when you get into the tournament setting. You got best of threes, you got best of fives. If you want to do well overall, you've got to widen that map pool. And it's very clear to me that for OWA OWA, or rather in CLG Red's case, on both sides of the coin here, both are struggling.
Oh, definitely. And now we might have like an even ground in the end on Haven, where you have a bit of experience for both ends right now. Maybe not, actually. Haven, it's not even played by OWA OWA. So at that point, hopefully they're coming out with a surprise. Maybe it's like a surprise they were banning all the time, and then we're going to come out with something amazing here on the third map. But before talking about this third map, let's see how this one finishes. Into round number 11, we do have the Cosmic Divide to come out for the attackers, as OWA OWA is just looking for a plant here towards this B site. But you do have a lockdown to counter, and things might be looking very tough for OWA OWA still.
It is going to lock them out a little bit, but it's still not going to give them the full opportunity they need to be able to get that defuse off. And that's the one thing that I'm thinking to myself. The flank could have played such a huge part.
Wait.
So many missed shots. Oh no, she made it happen before, but she couldn't make it happen now.
Okay, well, Chobo stays alive. They also canceled out on the flank from Bonita. And with this 2 versus 1, it's all up to Madison. And it's not going to work out, actually. No, the Bonita was still able to stay alive. It's Chobo that's going to come in to get the last kill there onto Madison, too. And the reason why I had the huge question mark and I thought Bonita was dead was she shot 4 bullets and missed all the shots, but nobody turned around to kill her. So she still had 2 more bullets and still had time to kill 1 more player. That was pretty crazy.
I feel like they gave her like a charitable 2-second head start.
But why? It's
like
11-0.
Me when I'm in a running race, like, please, can I have a head start? I beg you. And they go, yeah, 2-second head start for you, Jess. Off you go. And that's how that moment kind of felt to me. She's been hitting shots on the op. The moment she gets over to the sheriff, it's like, different weapon, different spatial awareness, different scope. I'm not working things out there. And so they gave her a bit of a charitable moment there, I think, Vans.
Well, I mean, a terrible moment to say we'll see you in the third map probably at this point, and it continues that way for CLG as they continue to push and aggress on every single angle and continue to take the upper hand. I have yet to see where OWA OWA is able to cross past the green tugs towards the long B without losing a single player.
And that probably says a lot about your ability to make ingress on any part of the map if continuously round after round after round you are struggling to make progress, not even onto side, but just into areas to make that execute happen. That's a big worry sign on a map and probably something that these teams could go back on, VOD review later and go, okay, our problem is this. We're not using enough utility or abilities for this. And that might just be all it is. Maybe we don't have enough smoke cover. Maybe we have too many lines of sight open up and we can't deal with it. Speaking of dealing with it, that's a collab, baby. Bonita doesn't miss. She's traded, but I don't know about you here, Vans. That's more damage done than she can handle. And oh, Bonita, that has been a brilliant map for you, and I hope you go back and you clip all of these highlights because you've done an excellent job.
That was insane. Another collat coming in for Bonita, just unstoppable with the operator. And when you see Arena on a map like Icebox, you would tend to think like, oh, we're just going to rush things out here as the Arena, going with the Leers, trying to go in with the Vandals, trying to just fight back or clap back on even retakes. But she's taking it to a whole different level. She's pulling out the weapons. Oh, CLG is doing a Gen G. They're actually summoning all the power necessary to just try to get the 13-0 sweep and bring it to a third map.
This is gorgeous because you would expect OWA OWA to be doing this, but
exactly.
Here it is, it's CLG Red. They're like, you know what, we need the extra luck somehow. I don't know how they've had all luck on their side this map, so not sure you need more, otherwise you might as well go buy a lottery ticket. And overall, for this particular map, I am on a roller coaster. I feel like I'm getting whiplash at the moment, Vans. From map 1 to map 2, it has just been a loop-de-loop, and it's just come to an exact halt for OWA OWA coming into Icebox.
Definitely. You kind of feel like in those movies when you're like the car on the highway and like a truck hits you from behind, you go in one direction, and that's OWA OWA just dominating on the first map, and then suddenly you're on the other side of the road, and a car collides into you on the other end, and now you're spinning on the other way, and you're about to fall off a cliff, and that third cliff could potentially be this third map of Icebox. But winning 12 rounds in a row here on Icebox has been looking very good for CLG. And again, I was just talking about Benita before of how good she's been here with the operator on the defender side. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that here on the attack. This is where, again, I'm going to see that probably rifle Lear push into those A side. That would really help CLG to just get a lot of power and map control on these executions on A site.
Absolutely. However they plan on doing it, I hope it's explosive, because that's exactly what this map warrants. They've brought it out to a point where they can take this map flawlessly. They can show us that they are a team that deserves to be in playoffs. And even if they lose a couple more rounds, they've absolutely solidified in my head they deserve to be here. But what does it show now for Benita? I'm going to put a little bit of a challenge on the board here. Either Benita outdoes Chobo here, after the insane accuracy that she's had over this map, or she walks away second to Chobo.
And
that's the little challenge I'm putting on.
It's even insane to say that Chobo is on the top of that board as well, because she's the initiator, right? She's trying to look for the information. She's by herself right now on the A side, Owl joining towards A to realize that it's clear, while the rest of them are pushing towards Boiler with a beautiful wall, and that's Tyre already the first to fall. Hana on the top of the Boiler trying to pop some hands while they're trying to cross over from CLG Red into the A site, but it doesn't pay off. It's going to be an open site, and it's also going to be a plant.
I said I wanted it explosive, and they've given us that. It's almost like the credits of a movie being better than the movie itself. That's exactly what we got here right now. That's what I want to see from CLG Red. Redemption arc. Well, if you're an anime fan like me, this is exactly what you're getting on your screen. Map number 3, come at me, baby, because this looks like it's done and dusted.
We are pushing over right now, trying to stay alive for OWA OWA. 4-on-2 right now. Can they keep things alive for the defenders? So far, so good. Carly and Madison going to work, putting Naomi, even if he's up, and it works out on the 1 versus 1 out of bullets as Carly comes in for the triple kill, and they will stay alive. And unfortunately, Jess, we have gotten the Cassacres.
It's just me, though, Vans. Ladies and gentlemen,
we're a team, baby. We're a team. We're a team.
No, you can sink the boat with just me on it. It's like the Titanic. You can say, I gotta let go here, because I am the one that consistently casts the curses these players. And if they want to DM me after today and absolutely rip me for it, I will let you guys. Just go on Twitter. You can absolutely DM me. But I will say that is a little bit of something. I don't want to say a participation prize, because that's a horrible way of phrasing it, even though it's already come out of my mouth. But what I do want to say is that it's a little bit of an exhalation that is needed for OWA OWA going into the third map. I'm thinking about the future here. That's what they're going to be thinking for.
Exactly. Just try to salvage as many rounds as you can. Try to bring that momentum back onto your side in the second half, even though it currently looks like a lost cause, and bring that momentum into the third one, if we do see a third one. Right now, it doesn't seem to be the case, because the first blood does come in favor of the defenders once again. But the spike has been planted, and we have 4 players already holding the site. We got a bunch of stuff going on here in terms of utilities, starting off with the Nebula on the retake on the defender side. But we do have the nanoswarms getting ready to get popped off, but that's going to be it. Not enough time, not enough chances to allow for CLG Red to back off from the utility that they set on the top of the spike, and it's going to be OWA OWA taking this round to make it 2 in a row.
Ayo, this is the momentum shift we like to see. I mean, I'm someone who loves an underdog story. And again, I have to reference the anime thing, because that is just such a shonen thing. So
I like what you did there too, because it's OWA OWA, and then you put it backwards to say Ayo.
That was brilliant. Ayo, OWA OWA.
It was close. It was close. It's one of my dad jokes. Chad, bear with me. I'm a 37-year-old boomer, loving this game so far. But CLG Red now, they do have the money right. And do you think this is the right call though for OWA OWA to go for a bonus to keep their Spectres when they're still facing elimination?
I think if you want to come back, you have to play for the long game. That's it. You got to play for the long game. And unfortunately, if you can't pull out one of these Spectre rounds and go, okay, we're playing now to hope that if we win this round, we can keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
That's all that is about, really.
Oh, no, the off shot that missed. It was a free kill there onto Benita, but at least it gets traded off, and that's a 4-on-4. The spike has been planted, and Nanoswarm's being popped, but it doesn't delay the plant. It doesn't get any kills either, but at least we have a big flame. It's Hannah around the corner, but it's being spotted, it's being checked, it's being cornered, and she's going to get flanked herself. Chobo to get the kill. A 4-on-3 as Nebulas are coming up here towards this B side. We are pushing forward. A Nanoswarm to pop out as they're trying to tap onto the spike for OWA OWA, so we are running this clock down, but it's Chobo continuing to flank. We have another Nebula up, but Stephanie and Tyra going to work. Last one is now spotted. They know she's in towards orange side. They're trying to spray her. They're still tapping onto this spike. There's no time. It's halfway. Chobo goes for the flick, and she does get the kill for the clutch. And CLG Red wins this second map 13-2.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We may have criticized CLG Red in map number 1, but it would seem, rightfully so and thankfully so, that we were absolutely wrong. They won't get dominated here in this series. We're going to throw it all the way to a third map, and that's what I like to see when you got a bit of an underdog story developed in just this series. We didn't think CLG would be that underdog, and now OWA OWA, they've got to get their pack together, work out what's going wrong, and they're hoping that CLG is throwing them a bone, because after that performance, things aren't looking good.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to have to come down to this third map, but we've seen one-sided affairs and dominance from both of these teams on their map picks, that is, right? There was no upsets going through. It's like, hey, we're comfortable on this map. It showed. Super comfortable on the map, on the first map being Ascent, on the second map being Icebox, from OWA OWA to now CLG Red. Now the third map is pretty much going to be still a question mark for me right now, though, Jess, because this is a map that we haven't seen OWA OWA play currently.
That's probably the biggest problem with a team that might not be comfortable on a map, and they just leave it as their extra map on the map pool that they either ban a lot or they just don't play. My problem is going into that, you've got unpredictability, you've got lack of coordination that might pop up left, right, and center. A team that runs away with that, with the momentum, as we've seen in map number 1 and map number 2, that's dangerous very, very quickly. I don't want to see another Stormer again. I need to see these teams take it back and forth. Otherwise, whoever takes the first 5 rounds, if we're going based off statistics, they're just going to run away with it.
Yeah, so
that's how you're going to have to look at this.
It definitely looks that way, that both of these teams are really running off that momentum, right? Like how things are panning off for them. It's just like, hey, we're just going to continue to roll through. And even you see the confidence from the players themselves of CLG Red into that second map. We talked about how it's been really aggressive for OWA OWA when they're pushing out towards the defender side. CLG have proven the same thing. But enough about that. Let's go into a break. And when we come back, the third and final map to be discussed onto the desk with Yinsu.